Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 160. This week, in particular, it feels like we've got a lot of TV-related things, so that, mixed with the internet being taken over by the Peacemaker intro of all things, as us kind of sitting back and going, okay, what's the best TV intros of all time? These could be theme songs, intros, whatever kind of gets you excited for a great 30 minutes or an hour of television. That's what's going to be on the list. And Josh and I tried our best to kind of mix it up from different eras and not just have our nostalgic childhood picks, but be forewarned, that's probably going to dominate a good chunk of this. But, Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm chilling, my dude. Like the list ended up being a lot more 2000 early to mid 2000s cartoons that I intended, but like the more and more I dived into like a good like lists of good best TV intros, the more and more those came up because they're just so good.
It's a lost art nowadays.
It really is, unfortunately, which is I think why Peacemakers stood out. I don't know about you. I forgot to text you last night, but I finished the third episode last night, and I have questions and like just laughing a little bit. The show's very funny. Anyway, I'm doing pretty good. We just finished on the Harry Potter journey with my mom. We finished Goblet of Fire last night.
The second best one.
Yeah. See, I go back and forth between Prisoner and.
I do like Prisoner. I think it's just because I like Goblet of Fire so much as a book that I enjoy the movie.
I see, and I'm. Oh, that is something I started this week. I finally downloaded the audiobook for Chamber of Secrets, so I'm making my way through Chamber of Secrets now, which is awesome. God, dude, like I've seen my mom cry, but when Diggory Cedric's dad goes,
"That's my boy,"
I saw her hands like. Beach cried before, but her hands went over her mouth, and she was like, "Oh no!" Like, oh, dude. Unfortunately, she is like, she feels emotion on like an intense scale. So like, we really can only do these like one movie a week because she needs like downtime, especially now because like, God, dude, like it is like
it's only gonna get heavier.
Only gonna get heavier, especially. And I've told her I was like, next one should be a little easier because it's a little less like dark magic, boo boo boo, and
except for the seriously dark ending.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Yes, I just, God, I hate Dolores Umbridge. If there was ever a character I wanted to punch in the face, it's Dolores.
I forget where I read it, but the greatest description I've ever heard, it might have been from the actress herself, that described Dolores Umbridge as a mixture of Margaret Thatcher and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, just, God, I hate it. Just, golly. So I did that this week. We talked about...
how Boba Fett has lost us?
Yeah, I'm lost. I feel bad... because, like, it just...
Tamora Morrison is trying. Ming-Na is awesome, and she's trying.
It's obvious that there's a lot of love put into the show, but the story itself isn't capturing me. It's like... yeah. I can see a Western crime drama in there, but it's trying to do both genres separately at the same time, which doesn't necessarily work. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say, those... people saying that Peacemaker is a masterpiece, I think are kind of like being really overexcited about it.
I agree.
It's a good show.
Yes.
I think if you're going to say masterpiece, let's finish the season first.
Yes. So yeah, let's talk about Peacemaker real quick. I'm glad that they dropped the first 3 episodes because if they dropped it weekly, I don't know if I would have made it to episode 3. I'm not saying the first 2 are bad. But it was smart to drop the first 3 because I got, by the end of the third one, I'm going, okay, this is the direction we're taking the story. Because the first 2 episodes felt a bit aimless and felt a little too set-up-y. That being said, there's some good jokes in there. I love the whole Berenstain Bears argument. Yes. It kind of felt like was just James Gunn scrolling through Twitter that day and seeing everyone react to the Mandela effect and going, I'm going to put that in my script. It's good
just,
so far.
casual references to Batmite, whatever.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
fine.
flipped. I popped so
I
hard.
popped so hard. I was like, I literally paused it and was like, did we just reference the most throwaway character of all time in the DC universe? Like, what in the? It's
Yeah.
just great.
It's
Um,
Peacemaker
I
is
will.
good so far. It's I wouldn't call
Yeah,
it a masterpiece. Like so many people are like, it's a 9 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10. I'm going. It's a 7 out of 10. It's good. It at times maybe it's just my style. It feels a little too Deadpool-y at times of like crude
yeah,
for the sake of crude. And I don't mind crude humor so long as like the Suicide Squad, there is crude humor to further a story and it fit in the scene, whereas sometimes in Peacemaker it feels like there's jokes just to have said joke as opposed to them actually belonging in the scene.
yeah. And here's the thing. This is, I think, why I can't even consider it a masterpiece at this point. I think a strong 7 out of 10 is a good point. Is a good settling point. Peacemaker as a character, uh, while interesting and funny, we're gonna have to see some growth from him in order for this show to work. Because if he stays the
Growth
racist
from the rest of the characters too, because the rest of the characters
yeah,
kind of have some room for improvement, except for Adebayo. She's great.
she's great. But like as a character, like, he's got like I can't sit here and root for a character who's so blatantly racist and sexist. Including while his dad comes off as this evil dude, so you kind of like give him a little bit of a pass. You're like, oh no, like you are an evil prick. Like that's okay, I get that. But whereas Peacemaker has this such like likable quality about him, it kind of like I at least maybe it's my personal desire. Like I understand he's supposed to be a quote unquote anti-hero, but he's got a just in today's world, especially having a openly gay character on your show, it just feels like look, here's an opportunity to, well, you know what, maybe that's the point. Here's an opportunity to have discourse on very sensitive topics in the middle of a Deadpool-esque show, like which
I don't.
can
Yeah. See, I don't see that
that
happening
can
though.
work, but I can't see that happening. So we will see what happens. There's 3 episodes out right now. Yeah, so I'm just straight chilling, man.
You watching
Oh
anything else?
yes. So we were scrolling. So we've had a couple snowstorms recently up here. This kind of shut everything down
I
for
had to
like a
wear a
day or
hoodie
so.
yesterday.
Oh, in Florida? Are
Well,
you
I
okay?
should have worn a hoodie, but I forgot it at home going, I'm going to be fine. For clarification, in college, I was not the shorts kid. Every college has a shorts kid that's just like, it's not that cold. I wasn't that kid. I was just like, I don't need a jacket. Out for 2 hours. I should have brought a jacket. But
Yeah.
proceed, snowman.
So I don't know. I don't know if I sent you the picture. We legit like a couple days ago made a like a fortress out of snow in our front yard and like made like a not very good replica snowman of Betty White, and it was just it was real funny. But yeah, we've had a lot of downtime, like a lot of family, and my brother Caleb was scrolling through things through Netflix, being just looking for shows or something to watch, and we came across a show that I hadn't thought about and hadn't realized that I hadn't finished it in the series of unfortunate events show on Netflix,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, it has 3 seasons. I have a vivid memory of watching like binging season one in like a day and being like, okay, when's the next one, and then just kind of forgot about it. Uh, so I've dived back into that. So I'm making my way back through season one, and then so I can get into the next 2 seasons because it was one of those shows like I really did enjoy, and so figured I might as well finish it. You know what I mean?
Nice. I've been Netflixing.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but every once in a while, by that I mean a daily occurrence, I'll deep dive down a YouTube rabbit hole, and somehow
Of
I
course.
ended up in a deep analysis of the works of Bo Burnham. And so I'm just like, I've heard some Bo Burnham songs before. Let me actually watch some Bo Burnham. So I watched I think his 2016 special called Make Happy. I laughed,
Yeah.
and by the end of it, though, I'm questioning my entire life and how I view him as a comedian, but in a good way. Of like his last song that he sends people off on, like really got me thinking like way too much.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one, Josh?
I haven't. I've been meaning to, but I
So
just had.
without,
Yeah.
it's not a spoiler, but like his last song, he like tries to actually get emotional with it and try to send people off with a message. And there's a line at the end that always sticks with me and has been in my head for like the last week. That it was, come and watch the skinny kid with a steadily declining mental health try and give you the one thing that he cannot give himself. And I'm just going, jeez. And so
Oof.
he doesn't do a special for another 5 years when he was actually supposed to do a comedy special, but then COVID hit. So he did this whole like big long special all from his house in one room called Inside. And I was expecting to really, really laugh. It's kind of a tough watch because it's in the best possible way, like a really tough. It's more of a drama than anything else.
Yeah.
It's him watching his own stuff at times, just kind of him analyzing himself in kind of almost like a Honey Boy sense of way. It felt like him going through his own catharsis, which was really fascinating to watch. But then lastly, I watched probably one of the best movies of last year, and now Heather's raving about it to people in her family that they need to see it too. Tick, Tick, Boom. Holy crap. Andrew Garfield better win some awards for this movie. Acting is phenomenal. His singing is outstanding. I've been on record several times on the podcast that I'm not a big Lin-Manuel fan. I wasn't the biggest fan of In the Heights. He's basically just like, I brought hip-hop to musicals. I'm going to stick with that. However, he directed Tick, Tick, Boom. And if that's kind of his directing style going forward, he's going to have a heck of a career as a director, because there's so many interesting choices that he makes as a director that I just loved with Tick, Tick, Boom. I loved the movie so much. I thought Andrew Garfield's performance was outstanding. His singing has been stuck in my head for about a week now because it's just so good. And the fact that he had no singing experience before this movie was outstanding. Like, dude's going to win an Oscar sooner rather than later.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I know that you know.
But I'm not telling the truth? Hey, set that up for later.
Gosh. God, now that's stuck in my head. I know that you know. I'm telling the truth.
Come on, son.
No, that's the Tick, Tick, Boom's been on my list for quite some time. I just haven't gotten around to watching it. Mainly because I know that my brother and my mom one of my brothers and my mom would really appreciate it because they're into musicals. God, cool. It's good to know that it's actually as good as I think it is.
It's excellent. It's so good.
Rock on.
So let's get into some news, shall we, Josh?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this one, I'm kind of mixed on, but it's mostly positive, at least for me. And that is we have our first official trailer for Disney Plus's Moon Knight. Now, it did but didn't kind of come out of nowhere. We heard rumblings that it was going to debut March 30th, and so we're kind of thinking, okay, need to drop a trailer soon. And then, like, either Saturday or Sunday night, they're just like, Moon Knight trailer coming Monday Night Football during the wild card playoff game. We're going, okay, that was fast. This trailer is so drastically different for Marvel, and I think that's a big part of the reason why I liked it so much. But at the same time, I kind of wanted more from this trailer, but I don't know what more I was expecting. Like, it doesn't give a whole lot of plot away, but it very much gives a very interesting atmosphere of what to expect for this show that I'm really liking. Anything with Oscar Isaac, I will see in a heartbeat because that man is outstanding. But I think, looking at this trailer, I think the real MVP of the show is going to be Ethan Hawke.
Probably.
He looks great. Now, here's the thing. Maybe it's just because it's Ethan Hawke and he's got a connection with this guy. But I think it would have been much more interesting. Granted, we haven't seen the show yet to know. But we know Scott Derrickson left Doctor Strange 2 because it wasn't horror enough. Gosh, it would have been interesting to see if Marvel's just like, well, okay. Do you want to do Moon Knight instead? You can reteam with your buddy Ethan Hawke. Because imagine if Scott Derrickson, the guy who did Sinister, did Moon Knight, because I'm already getting creepy vibes from this. I know they've said Doctor Strange will be the first quote-unquote horror movie in the MCU. This feels like the first horror project.
Yeah.
Now, Moon Knight also has one of the most difficult costumes to translate to the big screen, because white just is hard to translate. Like, if you have an all-white anything, and clearly they've dirtied it up a little bit, I like how they've treated this costume. It looks just like the comic, but a little updated, so it's not, like, blindingly white like it is at times on the pages. Josh, you saw the trailer for Moon Knight. What'd you think?
So I think what's interesting about this trailer is if you know nothing about Moon Knight, it's kind of like, oh, this guy's got he's schizophrenia. He's got some different personalities going. That's super interesting. Oh, he's leaving stuff. Certain personalities are leaving stuff for other personality. Like, I kind of got like a Fight Club vibe-esque going a little bit, where he's like, guys, I can't sleep, and I don't know why, but like, no, like, you can't sleep because somebody's always switching at the altar. But yeah, just so cool. And then it's like, oh, and he's gonna be a superhero, I guess is how you want to call it. I feel like Moon Knight would be closer to an anti-hero than most of what the stuff that we consider anti-heroes to be. He's just the costume's so good too. Like, I got
hey, at least he gets white eyes.
Yes, which tells us, hey, it can look good. Wow, look at that. But I think that, like, some of the effects are really, really cool. I get very this is gonna be so dumb. There was a TV show. I don't remember what it was called. I think it was just called Mummies. But like, there was like these. It was kind of like a Transformer-esque show, but all the characters were mummies. Anyway, there's an effect.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's like Beetle something, Beetleborgs.
Yeah, Beetleborgs? No, nah, I don't know. I'll see if
I'm thinking of something else.
I'll find an image. But anyway, just the way that his costume like envelops him, and I'm sure this is intentional, is very like mummy-esque.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's just so cool.
There's Egyptian lore there, so.
What? So my little brother, the one that I want to watch Tick Tick Boom, was like, yeah, it looks cool. I'm just not sure what it's about, who Moon Knight is. And I was like, look, think of it this way. This is Marvel's version of Batman. He's got split personalities, and there's Egyptian gods involved. And he was like, oh yeah, now I'm definitely on board. And I was like, I know, it looks so good. And I'm super intrigued. I don't know where we're going. I have had a Moon Knight comic book like tucked away on my Amazon shopping list. I was going to get it to kind of read up before the show. But honestly, I think I might wait just to kind of experience the show.
Now that there's a Moon Knight trailer, the comics, I'm sure, more expensive.
I'm sure, and that's the other thing. It's like I'm finding is like Moon Knight and like Kyle Rayner comics are really hard to find, and it's kind of annoying.
So, I had said on the Loki series, I just need Owen Wilson to say "wow" at one point, and he never does. But that's probably because they have multiple seasons, and so they know fans want that, and they're gonna drag it out. Kevin Feige's been really into fan service lately, so Kevin Feige.
Really?
Fan service me in this way with Moon Knight at some point. I need him to have an encounter, and Josh will probably tell where I'm going with this. I need him to have an encounter with Dracula and say,
yes,
where's my money, Dracula? Because there's a famous comic panel of him like descending stairs like a Universal Monsters movie almost. And he's just like, where's my effing money, Dracula? And I'm like, what?
I just need it.
That's like the running joke in Marvel Comics. There's another one where he like calls up the Avengers, and Spider-Man, he's just like, he's not here. He's not even an Avenger. We don't owe you any money. Oh, okay. And he like hangs up like the whole time. Moon Knight just wants Dracula and Dracula's money, which, according to some interesting Blade rumors, might be on the horizon soon. But I don't know if I trust those sources. Which I won't delve into the rumors that I saw, but there's some rumors out there that I'm going, that doesn't seem likely at all. That seems a little too out there. well, I saw some pictures earlier today that I'm going, holy crap, that's actually true? Like, I won't say what it was, but I'm going, there's no way. Not Moon Knight related, but I'm going, are we actually going to do that? But Moon Knight, I think there's a chance that this is the Iron Man to the underworld of the MCU, so to speak, because we know Blade is coming by Mahershala Ali. There's rumors of a certain uncaged individual making his grand return back to the MCU with a flaming skull in a near horizon. I wouldn't be surprised if we get more underworld-related characters, and this is kind of our first taste of it. I like the tone that this is setting. This feels creepy, and I like creepy.
Oh, absolutely. I also need a random BS go.
Yes,
scene.
I do.
I just need that to that's iconic Moon Knight. The trailer got me amped. I'm down. Absolutely, it's gonna be one. If the show is as good as what the trailer makes it seem, this might end up being one of my favorite Marvel series so far.
So, for the past 3 weeks on the podcast, we've talked about different updates with the Batgirl movie, because that's filming right now, and there's been a lot of set photos. Well, now we have an actual official photo of what Leslie Grace will look like in the upcoming Batgirl, in the Batgirl suit, and it caused quite a bit of stir online. I like it quite a bit. I don't mind this suit at all. This is actually more or less exactly what I was expecting from this suit. Now, some people have been like, it looks too CW, it looks too leather. I'm going, I think that's more of the lighting, because there's been some other pictures that I sent Josh today that have come out, and it looks a lot better, and I think it all comes down to lighting and angles on it. This looks exactly like the New 52 Batgirl of Burnside, which I like that suit a lot. That's the pop I have, is that version of just street level clothes. But I think it's also important to keep in mind that it's a superhero origin movie, which means safe bet that there's going to be at least 2 superhero suits. So if you don't like this one, just wait till she gets her final suit. You can also say the same thing about Robert Pattinson's Batman suit. Y'all that like the suit that he's got currently, be prepared for an upgrade. I'm marking that down now. I really don't mind this suit. I really don't think it's that bad. It does look a little CW-ish, but again, I've chalked that up more to the angle. I will say also this picture highlights her red hair more, because there's been some other pictures that I've seen that looks more brown, but this looks more like natural red hair. I like it. It looks good. Looks interesting. They had to do it because they're doing outside shooting, so they had to release at least some point a picture of what it looks like. Again, I bet you she's going to get a different upgraded suit at a later point, but for a homemade suit, which is what I'm imagining this is, looks spot on to the comics and the versions of Batgirl that I know.
Yeah. No, yeah, I have no issue with it at all. I think it's a good suit that kind of doesn't, like, right off the bat, it doesn't give her something that is Black Widow-esque, that is like too form-fitting or anything like that. It lets her develop the character before being, unfortunately, eventually sexualized. So
I don't know. Batgirl has never really had any sexualized costumes.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. See, okay, but like the Batgirl that
Batman
I love,
wouldn't. Well, I was about to say Batman wouldn't allow it, but we know Batgirl and Batman have had weird killing joke history.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. But like,
try to forget that.
I personally, when it comes to Batgirl, am a Cassandra Cain kind of guy, with the complete face covering and like the stitching on it, like that. To me, that's the Batgirl I know. So like, as far as this goes, I'm down. Sure, why not? That looks like the traditional Batgirl, especially if this is Barbara Gordon. Like, yeah, absolutely, let's go.
And I've been saying it for weeks, but I'm really fully expecting a Robin/Nightwing casting by the end of this month or by the end of February at the very latest. Now that because I'm a greedy fan, now that we've gotten what she looks like in the costume, can you please show us what Brendan Fraser looks like as Firefly? Because I'm really, really curious what that'll look like. Will he have, like, his mask will be like a fireman's mask? Because if I remember correctly, wasn't Firefly an ex-firefighter or something like that?
I think it kind of depends. It depends on which origin you follow, I think. I think what'll be interesting to me, and because we don't know much about what Brendan has really been up to, because cosmetics have been cosmetic effects have been getting really good these days. I'm always curious if Brendan is gonna lose weight for this.
No,
and gonna
probably not.
See, who knows?
He's gonna have some nasty burns, I bet, like Freddy Krueger looking.
I would be. I'd bet that as well. But like a lot of people were like, "Oh, you mean his character from Doom Patrol, where he's actually pretty chubby?" And I'm like, that could easily. I mean, I know it's.
He's already has lost some weight, but I think that's for other movies.
I agree. I'm not. I want to be clear here. I'm not saying he should be absolutely jacked out of his mind for this role. It's just Firefly. It's okay. And honestly, at this point, I'm just happy that Brendan Fraser's acting again.
Yeah. And from what we heard, he's not the only villain in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, how awesome would it be if he, like, is absolutely jacked out of his mind?
He's back to George of the Jungle shape.
Yeah, George of the Jungle, Brendan Fraser all over again. Like, oh, dude, no, say less. Good. Commissioner Gordon's not the only one that's jacked out of his mind for no reason.
Now, I also feel pretty confident saying this will not be the final Batgirl suit, because in the concept art that was actually officially shown at DC Fandom, the costume looked different, which makes me kind of further solidify I think this is a homemade suit that she makes. And then I wouldn't be surprised if the final version of her suit looks more like the Arkham Knight version, where it's much more armored, maybe a black and gold look, because I'm more familiar with Batgirl having a purple and gold color scheme. But to be fair, that hasn't always been the MO. We have had like the gray at times, more black, depends on who's currently working on that character, so to speak. So I really don't mind this suit. I like the casting. I'm just looking forward to seeing more stuff from this, because this Batgirl movie over the past 2 months has gone from I'm mildly interested in it to I feel like every DC person has their eyes on this going, we don't know what's actually happening, and we probably won't get clarification until after The Flash, but we're at least a little bit interested.
Yeah. I think one of the other things outside of a Robin casting I would like to see here in a few months would be what Michael Keaton's bat suit's going to look like.
Besides a mural?
Yeah. Because there's no way they're just going to take the OG suit and just leave it at that. There's no way you're not going to update that. At least in my mind. But who knows, man? Like you said, I think a lot of DC fans are looking at this movie a little bit more closely.
Indeed. Now, a news story that I never thought the day would come, but we can finally rejoice in something. And it seems like we are getting more Real Steel. Now, for those that don't know what Real Steel is, you are probably part of the problem, because Real Steel underperformed at the box office of what it should have done. And also, before we really get into this isn't set in stone yet, but it seems very, very likely it's in very early stages that a Real Steel series is in the works for Disney+. I have wanted this for a really long time. Josh, when do we think the first Real Steel came out? Let me look it up real quick.
I'm going to say...
Got it.
I want to say mid-2000s?
2011. So it's been 10 years since the first Real Steel. The only Real Steel. Real Steel was one of those movies that all the trailers kind of looked bad. It just looked like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. There's a whole bunch of Rock'em Sock'em Robots jokes, and then you actually see the movie, and it's really, really good. Sean Levy is the king of, doesn't look that great and way over delivering. He just did it with Free Guy. He did it before with Night at the Museum, which I still think is kind of underappreciated. I've always wanted to continue the world of Real Steel because it sets up such an interesting world of there's no actual boxing anymore and they're all controlled by robots. And it fluctuates of like you can make your own, you can buy your own. The world that they set up was interesting. It didn't go full Blade Runner of it's completely sci-fi. It still feels very much lived in. We haven't heard any news officially yet if Hugh Jackman or Sean Levy will come back. But I feel like if it was a few months ago that we talked about Sean Levy wanting to come back for more Real Steel, and Hugh Jackman and he, whenever they get together, talk about making another one. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Levy comes back, if nothing else, as a producer, and maybe Hugh Jackman comes on as a producer, but I'm not sure. This is encouraging that they're at least weighing their options, because to me, this has been a franchise that needs more follow-ups. I enjoyed the first one a lot more than I thought I would. Maybe the kid. I forget what the kid's name is in it, but maybe he's an adult who's, I don't know, has his own boxing league or something, and he's kind of the background character that's the catalyst for some other stories going forward. But Josh, you see a Real Steel series is in the works. Thoughts?
Dude, let's go. Absolutely, let's go. I'm so like you said. It has been what we said 10 years.
Yeah,
10 years since the last one. So there's just there's so many possibilities. I don't need Hugh to be in this. I almost wonder if. So just pitching off the top of my head here. Let's say something happens in which Hugh is no longer around. You could say he died of a heart attack because of his bad living, whatever. His character's no longer in the picture. So we have our grown-up kid who is, like you said, running a gym. And I just get this Cobra Kai vibe from it, that like possibilities wise.
Says the dude that hasn't watched Cobra Kai.
It's on my. As soon as I'm done, and you can quote me on this because I'm saying it on the pod. As soon as
that means nothing. Oh, also speaking of things that have been said on the pod. What was that you said, Josh, about the Scream being one of the biggest financial flops of the year?
Yeah.
As it overtook Spider-Man at the box office this weekend and made a pretty healthy $35 million.
Yeah.
Continue.
But how good is it? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot. As soon as I'm done on Series of Unfortunate Events, I'm planning on getting.
It's 75% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That means nothing. That literally means nothing. Like you and I both know that you can't.
No, that actually means a lot for. That means a lot for a horror movie to get that high.
I mean, I guess, sure.
Josh just cannot concede a win to Scream.
No, because it's Scream. I don't like the movie.
Do you want me to call it 5 Cream instead?
You know what? Fine. I'll go and see it, and then I'll tell you how terrible it is.
I'm hoping to see it this week.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
I was hoping to see a Real Steel sequel. Haha, segue.
Segue. Yeah, I think this is the best avenue for it, rather than... it's one of the things I think that I'm excited for, that people are figuring out, that shows have a tendency to be able to tell better stories than a movie outing, and I'm all about that. I mean, yes, I know they need more original content on Disney Plus, but this is it, man. I'm down for it.
So I know the original was already kind of, but not fully, this concept. But what would you think? Real Steel meets Iron Giant / Bumblebee, of lone character discovers rundown old piece of equipment, and that's more or less his only friend.
So the movie?
See, it's different though because
No, the movie does that though.
Doesn't he control the robot though? He controls the robot. The robot isn't a free thinking robot.
A little bit until they realize about halfway through the movie that the robot's kind of sentient.
Which bit. The movie, I don't know. At least the trailers to me, I remember watching the movie thinking, "Oh, this is not the direction that the trailer showed at all." Because in the trailers you see Hugh Jackman doing the moves and the robot executing them, like mirroring them. But for most of the movie, you control it like a game. I'm going, that's not the solution for Hugh Jackman's beat up state? Because I thought that was a really interesting concept of kind of your emotions are what controls the robot. So maybe we take that approach. I would like that.
They do kind of say at the end that he's kind of that Adam is semi-sentient and like has feelings and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. I'm open to it, super open to it. Maybe not as open as our next story though.
Speaking of semi-sentient, I don't think I actually hate this as much as Josh, but it just seemed kind of odd nonetheless. I hope you're in the holiday spirit still, because we've got Christmas-related news as Disney Plus once again is devoid of original ideas, so they just want to nostalgia bait you, in which case, I hope you like Scott Calvin, because we're bringing him back for more Santa Claus, as Tim Allen is returning as Scott Calvin for his Santa Claus Limited series. That, to me, is the biggest red flag of limited series. If you said a Disney Plus original movie, okay, I'm interested in that. Because as much as I'm not looking forward to Hocus Pocus 2, because I hate the original, that makes sense as a Disney Plus movie, not a Disney Plus series. This, I think, could have been a Disney Plus movie. However, I think Josh is against the idea. I'm for the idea because the synopsis sounds interesting to me. When you say Tim Allen is coming back to Scott Calvin, not interested. But they said Scott Calvin this time around is like a 65-year-old man who's debating whether or not he even wants to be Santa anymore and spend the remaining years of his life with his family, and he's looking for his replacement. Going, that's not a bad idea. But the alarm bells in my brain immediately just go, so Charlie then. To which I posted that on Twitter, and a friend of our podcast, Matt Dahlberg, suggested the redhead girl from Santa Claus 3. I'm going, dang it, that makes more sense. But on a dark side of things, Disney will never do this. But Disney, you established the rules that there can only be one. So if we want a new Santa, Charlie's going to have to murder his father.
So...
the murder clause.
You could... I'm really resisting the urge to drag Tim Allen's political beliefs into this sphere.
Which I love shooting down people that are just like, the reason Tim Allen didn't come back for Lightyear is because of his political beliefs and Disney doesn't want to work with him anymore. I'm going, this show exists, so clearly it wasn't that. And clearly Lightyear is just a different character, so they needed a different... that's my weird rant for the day about that.
Well, but like if they act like Lightyear hasn't already been voiced by somebody else,
and done it better.
Yep.
We will talk about Buzz Lightyear Star Command later.
Dude, let's go.
Skilled,
but
courageous and ever vigilant.
How crazy would it be if if Scott Calvin dies of COVID and that's why they have to find a new one? He's
not dead. He has to look for the new Santa.
I can't stand. I just can't. Look, man, the first couple, like, okay, I'll say this. The first, I will say that. No. So, there are a few of the Santa Clauses I actually legitimately enjoy.
The first one.
The first one's good. It's not the one with, Jack Frost.
That's the third one. That's the escape clause.
Yeah, I think it's the second one I actually kind of enjoy.
That one's not too bad.
It's not terrible. And I think they did one after 3.
No, they didn't. They've only done 3.
Okay, well, no. Well, wait, is 3 the one when they have the fake Santa?
That's Jack Frost. No, that's 2.
Okay, It's cool. So
2 is the
then I
one with
do
the
like
terrifying Tim Allen as a
Dude,
rubberized.
that is
God.
horrifying. Or Tim Allen's political beliefs. Anyway,
Let's not go there, Josh. That's not what this show's
I'm
about.
sorry. I hate Tim so much. But yeah, no, I like the first two. I don't understand. I guess. So what's the clause? The continuation clause, the we need more money clause, the we don't have any original ideas
The
clause.
Chapek clause?
Yeah, like what are we doing here? And especially like this being announced now, when is this show supposed to come out? The summer?
Well, you got to think it takes a while. They just announced this. They haven't even started filming or working on it at all. I wouldn't be surprised if it
I'm just bitter.
comes out Christmas next year. My number one thing is with this, I bet you anything they announced this because Disney Plus original content, Christmas themed on Disney Plus, is awful. Let's not forget when Disney Plus first launched. Disney, we still have not forgiven you for this. When they launched, they had a couple original movies. The first one that they advertised the most was Anna Kendrick's Noelle. God, that movie's awful. And I don't think they really have any good original Disney Plus Christmas content. And other platforms have the Christmas classics. HBO Max has Christmas Vacation. At least they did this year. They had, if you want to consider Polar Express, which I do not, a Christmas classic, you could watch it on HBO Max. You could watch Elf there. Peacock has some of the old stuff. Disney, I don't think, has the rights to any of the like classic stuff. So they're trying to mine the classics that they do actually have the rights for. So, we're going to have a spin-off movie about the waitress from Denny's that served them and get her origin story.
See, my family loves, I don't know if you've ever seen Prep and Landing. And both of those are on Disney Plus, and I enjoy the crap out of those. But it's about the elves that get the houses ready for Santa. Anyway, it's pretty cool.
How is it not a Phineas and Ferb Christmas special?
No. Oh yeah, how is it not? I don't know. I don't know. I don't care for Tim, I don't necessarily, especially like with how 2 and 3 went, I don't particularly care for Scott Calvin either. So it is what it is, man. I mean, they do need more original, quote unquote, original Disney movies, but on Plus, but whatever, dude.
For our last news topic today, let's talk about the most random news you will hear this week, barring any like insanely bizarre things. We're getting a Weird Al Yankovic biopic for the Roku channel, and Weird Al will be played by Daniel Radcliffe. And immediately this movie hype goes to the top of my hype list. Not even joking. Because Josh and I have said before, Daniel Radcliffe is one of our favorite actors, and honestly, at this stage in his career, I think we can say he's one of the more underrated actors because people still view him as Harry Potter, and I think, unfortunately, that's going to follow him for the rest of his life. But he's done such a good job of expanding his horizons. It doesn't always work out, guns akimbo, but since he's got all the money in the world, he's totally free to do whatever wild movie comes across his path, and he does that. And most of the time, he knocks it out of the park. I still say to this day, one of the most underrated horror movies is his The Woman in Black. I love The Woman in Black. And then Josh and I will always sing the praises of Swiss Army Man. He's outstanding in that. We just love Daniel Radcliffe, and I can't wait for him to be our new Wolverine. I'm not letting that go.
Stop.
But compound that with, I don't know if I've ever spoken on a podcast about it, but I have, as a socially awkward white guy that loves pop culture, I naturally love Weird Al. I have so many Weird Al songs memorized. If I was ever in like a karaoke scenario and I have to belt my heart out for something, I'm going with The Saga Begins because it's just fantastic. That, or Ode to a Superhero, which is a perfect Spider-Man song, or even Don't Download This Song. We don't sing that enough, and that's aged like fine wine in this digital age. I love Weird Al a lot. He's just one of those like positive presences in the music industry that I feel like everyone loved Betty White. I feel like everyone loves Weird Al just because he's that really funny, just cool dude that's never in trouble. He's always really funny and entertaining. That being said, what's the story of his biopic? Is it gonna be like every other biopic? Like Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story has forever ruined biopics for me of they're all so formulaic and the same. Is the story of Weird Al any different? You're never gonna go anywhere with that accordion. You watch, Dad! Sitting on the back of a bus, just going, what should I do with my career? Hey! And then he starts playing Another One Rides the Bus. Roll credits.
Dude.
There's your movie.
Dude. Okay, but hear me out.
Did you lose on Jeopardy?
No. First of all, I love the like mental picture that I got of you being like held at gunpoint and like, man, we're gonna kill your whole family unless you do a karaoke song. I got you. Weird Al.
long time ago. In a galaxy far away.
Exactly.
Dang it, that's like, gonna be in my head the rest of the episode.
I like just held at gunpoint, and like all of a sudden the kidnapper starts singing along, and it's just being.
I know more Weird Al songs than their actual original versions. Dude. So like Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. I can sing it. I Want It That Way. I Bought on eBay. Tim Hawkins' Subway, or Slash Streets. I'll Kill You That Way. And my hidden talent is I can alternate which song it is at any given moment. I'm useful.
But like to that point though, like American Pie is I don't know the lyrics to that song.
Me neither.
But when you play the melody, I think of An Adventure Begins. What is that? Jeez.
The Saga Begins.
Saga Begins. And it's like, dude, or like I'm like
nerdy. This here Anakin guy, maybe Vader someday later.
Fantastic stuff. So hear me out. What if they're using biopic very, very loosely? Because technically, Pick of Destiny is a quote-unquote biopic of Tenacious D. So what if we got like a cross between Pick of Destiny and
UHF?
The Bill and Ted Adventures. Do a cross of those two movies in a quote-unquote biopic style with Weird Al Yankovic. However, I don't think they'll do it because this is for the Roku channel.
Yeah, it's weird. But so
it's just cool.
If it's going to be a musical comedy, you know Dave Grohl has to cameo in this somewhere because Dave Grohl.
Have you seen the movie that the Foo Fighters are doing?
666?
And I like want to watch the crap out of it. It looks so funny. Oh, dude, let's go.
Yeah, I'm curious about this. I like Weird Al a lot, even if it's Roku channel. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll check it out because it's Weird Al and Daniel Radcliffe. It's a pairing it's weird enough that it just might work, but it also could colossally fail. But I don't care. It's Weird Al.
Yeah.
So this week's episode.
I think the only thing.
What?
My bad.
You're good. What? Close it out. I was
gonna say the only thing I want from Daniel Radcliffe at this point is a movie about him Daniel Radcliffe playing Elijah Wood against the villain that is Elijah Wood playing. Like, that's so funny. Come on.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. So this week's episode, as per usual, is sponsored by TeePublic, your one-stop shop for all your Uncharted media needs. We've got 5 awesome designs you can choose from. You can get a retro design of us watching Halloween. You can get one with the Uncharted logo. You can see Josh as a mad dog. It's better than I'm describing it as, but anything Uncharted related that you want: hoodies, t-shirts, notebooks, stickers, canvas paintings. I don't know. It's all there at TeePublic. Check it out. Just help out the show. Support your local media, your Uncharted media. Support your local podcast, if you will. Now let's get into TV show intros. The proper thing to judge a TV show by, because a show is really only as good as its intro and how much it can hook you in with its amazing jingle. Now, a lot of the ones we're going to talk about today are kid shows, and I feel like that's because kids have a shorter attention span. And also, I don't have as many modern ones because the art of the TV intro, I feel like has kind of gone by the wayside because you get a lot of, all right, we need to condense this down. We need to, with like Netflix or Disney Plus having a skip intro option, you get a lot of people just going, okay, so not as much attention to detail is paid to it. Like, I was talking to a friend last night and he suggested Stranger Things, and I'm going, it's good enough, but at the same time, I feel like the Stranger Things intro was unfortunately made to be skipped because it's good 80s synth style music, but at the same time, not so great like the Peacemaker one. You cannot skip Peacemaker's intro. That is amazing. And do you really want to taste it? It has been in my brain like on loop ever since that episode dropped. It's so good, but it makes you stick with the show. So that's the point of a good TV show intro, and I've done enough rambling. So let's talk about the best of the best. Josh, where do we even start with this?
Do you want to get some of the Netflix ones out of the way here? Because
sure, because I don't have any.
Okay, because I agree with your point that most of the Netflix's intros are kind of built to be skipped. However, I will say the first 10 episodes or so, I find it hard to skip both the Daredevil and the Punisher intros. They're just so fascinating to watch, especially with Daredevil, like watching all of the stuff, like everything melt over other surfaces. It's so fascinating, and especially the song in the Punisher one, God, so cool. Like, it's just hard to skip them after at least the first 10 episodes because it does feel like a part of the experience.
Now that I think about it, I do have one honorable mention. Netflix, The Haunting of Hill House. When you're going when you're going through the diorama of the house and the fantastic music as you pass like the different statues and everything else, I think that's awesome. Not like an all-time great, but just like everything else with Haunting of Hill House, that intro is made with meticulous care to get you invested in the ambiance of the show. And gosh, I love Hill House so much.
So good.
Should I think of where we should take this next? I've got all kinds of ones. I've got like Cartoon Network. I've got some PBS. I've got some good old Nick at Night. I've got some really, really old school ones. Here, I got one that I feel pretty confident saying it is not on Josh's list, primarily because I feel pretty confident saying neither of us watched this as a kid. That being said, its music is instantly iconic, and we're just going, yeah, I can't complain. That's one of the best pieces of music ever. And that's the intro to The Lone Ranger. As soon as that music comes on, you go, yep, that's Lone Ranger. You just have that immediate recognizability. And I think that's a big part of what went into my list, at least. One of it is nostalgia, but two is how instantly recognizable is it. Like, I don't know if it's on Josh's list now that he's been converted, but the Friends theme song. You immediately know the Friends theme song, even if you don't know who sings it. Lone Ranger's another one that even if you've never seen a single episode or haven't seen that god-awful movie, you know the theme for the Lone Ranger, and it immediately gets you hyped. It's just that... It's a weird comparison, but I know Josh will track with me immediately. The Lone Ranger theme is the perfect wrestler theme because it has that immediate punch. You're looking for music that immediately comes out of the gate, will generate that pop, and I think Lone Ranger has that. Granted, never watched it, but I know the music incredibly well.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And I think that's the thing about a good portion of these, of what makes a good intro, is it has to be iconic, it has to be memorable, but it doesn't always have to be music and stuff like that. Like, I do want to shout out, and this is only because they work it into a sentence every single episode, the Invincible, quote unquote, intro that is like literally a frame and a sploosh sound. Like, it's unique. It doesn't, you're not here for the intro. Looking at which we'll talk about later, sometimes I feel so there's some stuff on this list that's there because it's iconic, but I think it's too big for its own good. But like, it's quick, boom, you're done, haha. And I get a laugh out of it because most of the time they slip it in as like a pun or like as in like the end of a sentence or something like that. Like, what do you think, kid? You think you're spoof invincible? Like, that's funny to me. Like, that's so fun.
Even if they take forever to come out with season 2.
Dude, and here go. I don't blame them because season 2 is gonna be tough. I know what's coming, and I'm not sure people who haven't read the comics are ready
Me.
for it at all.
What else you got?
Got to talk about Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, I had that one. So,
Dude,
I have a bone to pick with Phineas and Ferb, though, is when I was doing research for this, I was like, oh, you know what would be perfect? Is if there's 107 episodes of Phineas and Ferb. There's not. There's 186.
There's
I mean,
lot.
good for you, Phineas and Ferb, for being like the longest running Disney show. But it would have been perfect if you ended at 107 episodes because there's 107 days in summer vacation and school comes along just to end it. So the annual problem for our generation is finding a good way to... Is it end it or send it?
Spend it.
There we go.
And it just keeps going. It's so good. You just can't
It's
go
so
wrong with it.
Fast too.
And because of that, so I'm gonna tie these in. You ready? Watch. So because of that, and the great stuff, there's also one that kind of like starts a little slow, and then there's a section of it that picks up and leads you to the end. And that's Fairly Odd Parents. And like you can't tell me if you grew up with the show. Obviously, you're gonna know it, but like Pink Moose, Rubber Goose, like come on, like. There's just so much fun, and I think that's something that the reason why maybe some of these Cartoon Network shows and these Nickelodeon shows and Disney shows kind of have something that's more memorable. Probably because we saw them as kids, so it's gonna have a nostalgic to them. But they're also really, really catchy and really well done, and they have like a theme as to what really the show is about.
Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron.
God. Jimmy Neutron.
Dude, it's better than the Planet Sheen.
We don't talk about Planet Sheen. Planet Sheen was a bad dream that we all had that we woke up from and don't want any memory of.
Yeah.
If anything, I wish there was a spinoff instead with Carl living in a llama monastery. A llama-stery.
Yes. Or a lot. Never mind. There's a lot of like really weird stuff with Carl, and I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Him and Jimmy's mom live in a monastery with llamas.
Dude, I was not gonna go there, but we're here, so like it's so odd. Dude, like the fact that Jimmy's dad, like legitimately, Jimmy and Timmy both have a dad that regrets having a child. Like, God, dude, I'm so sorry.
Jimbo.
Good stuff, dude.
Do you have any other Nickelodeon ones? Because I have one big Nickelodeon one.
Going down. Yeah, because like my list was like 35, so I'm just trying to shave off as much as possible. Technically, Avatar: The Last Airbender is Nickelodeon. So
I thought about Avatar. I don't know. It's because maybe it's just for me. After a certain point, I did start to skip it. Of like,
I don't blame you.
Because like it's really good for like book 1, but then once you get into like book 2 and book 3, you're just like, I know this already. Like a good TV show, over time you'll notice in later seasons they'll like update the video playing in the intro and whatnot. But Avatar, it's always long ago the four nations lived in harmony. Then everything changed with the Fire Nation intact.
Fire.
And then
Earth.
You're just like, I get it. We've moved past this. Aang has accepted his responsibilities and he's working towards being the Avatar that we all need at the moment. Like it visually, it's really great. But after a certain point, I'm just like, okay, can we move on now? Now, the other Nickelodeon one, the only other Nickelodeon one I have that I'm just like, well, obviously it has to be on my list. Drake and Josh. Like,
I knew it.
That's just a classic. Like, come on now. Now, obviously, Drake Bell hasn't aged particularly well. I mean, No, I was gonna make a bad joke there, but we're just gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah, it was just
It does make watching Spider-Man.
We're not allowed to talk about Tim Allen's politics. We're not gonna drag Drake Bell through the mud.
I mean, it makes watching Spider-Man a lot harder nowadays.
Yeah.
But Drake and Josh is just a classic theme. That's another one that it's nice to see it updated over time with the later seasons, newer videos. Drake and Josh do take a little bit of points away of later seasons when Josh lost the weight. His head still remained huge and it looked kind of awkward, but Drake and Josh, you could still jam out to it still to this day. That's back when there was a lot of good stuff. Like Drake and Josh has a fantastic theme song. iCarly as a follow-up also has a really good theme song, but probably just not as good. But also, I think I appreciate both Drake and Josh and iCarly now, even as an adult, because they really do just try and stick the worst possible puns in there, and I love it. Like, I will forever be a fan of Spencer and his horrible, horrible puns. I went to that religious donut shop down the street. Holios? No, Amazing Glaze. I'm going... And his Sokko's cousin that is just... Oh, all those bad puns. Isaac's... Oh, yeah, I went to Isaac's cousin. He's an optometrist named Isaac. I'm going... Bad puns are great. But the Drake and Josh theme, still jam to this day. The only song that's better from Drake and Josh is when they did a cover of Soul Man from Blues Brothers. I'm going... Yes, that's instantly iconic right there.
So, I think... So I'll talk about. I'll mention Danny Phantom because that's also.
Oh, that's a Nickelodeon one.
That's Danny Phantom. That's so good.
And in true superhero fashion, his first suit isn't the one that he sticks with.
Yeah.
He didn't have the white D.
Yeah. So, but I think I hate you that we are not talking about the most iconic Nickelodeon theme song.
Net Declassified?
SpongeBob SquarePants, my friend. Oh no, do you not like it? Do you not like SpongeBob? No!
I think I can count on one hand the number of SpongeBob episodes I've watched. I don't like SpongeBob.
Okay.
I'll acknowledge that it's like one of the most famous theme songs. Like I could probably still sing it to you even by proxy, but I'm not a SpongeBob person. Never have been.
So it is on. I've seen like the whole first season. And that's probably in bits and spots of later on. But it's on this list because, for that reason, Nate, that I think you can walk into a group of people that are about our age and go, "Are you ready, kids?" And everybody will know.
But even younger or even slightly older, probably. They'll still just know it by proxy. Like the Pokemon theme. People just know that.
Pokemon, and I have those two. I have Pokemon and Digimon on this list. There's no way.
I don't think I know the Digimon one.
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon.
Digimon, we're clear. We are legally distinct. We just have to make that clear in every single episode. We are legally distinct. Please do not copyright us.
Okay, but like, even then, throughout the first season, I can't believe that this is turning into this conversation. But throughout the first season, they do definitely make it more distinct, and that it's the digital world. It's separate. They're different, and they power up in different ways. They don't stay at their highest power. Anyway,
I was always a Yu-Gi-Oh person anyway.
That's fair. I watched like that all the way up until Yu-Gi-Oh faced Pegasus towards the end of that first season, I think.
Yeah, that's the first season.
I'm like, all right, cool. That's all I needed. I don't need anything else.
No, I watched the full run and then tried watching one of the spin-offs. It was like Yu-Gi-Oh GX or something like that. And I'm just like, nah.
Some of the spin-offs they're okay.
No, I watched most all of the Yu-Gi-Oh and then sold like all my cards for $20 in college and going, I probably could have gotten more money out of that, but I didn't know finance.
Are we gonna talk about good old Cartoon Network now? Or...
Oh yeah, I've got quite a few Cartoon Networks, but from various time periods.
Okay. Technically, I guess I've got. Nah, I'm not gonna pretend that.
Or like if I have one, I've got different incarnations of one. Like, honestly, any Scooby-Doo intro is a good Scooby-Doo intro. I was raised on Scooby-Doo. The only one that might be a little weak is like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. A pup named Scooby-Doo is not as good as I remember as a kid, But A Pup Named Scooby-Doo's intro is still awesome to this day. As a kid, though, I would watch anything even remotely branded Scooby-Doo. So, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Like, that's the instant, like, iconic one. However, let's talk about the real best Scooby-Doo. The real best Scooby-Doo theme song is What's New Scooby-Doo. That's still my jam to this day, going, oof, yes, this will get me hype to solve very oddly specific and bizarre mysteries that a high schooler could solve for some reason that cops can't, but it's okay.
I mean, that's not that far off. I mean, when you think about it.
Also, what was it with the 60s having oddly specific teenage crime solving? Because around that time it was Scooby-Doo, Hardy Boys, and Nancy Drew. I'm going, was there a trend here? But any Scooby-Doo intro is a good intro to me as a Scooby-Doo fan. Mm-hmm. However, I don't know. I haven't seen like the newer stuff to know of like Mystery Inc. or I feel like there's another one that people bagged on for a while. If those were as good, but Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And What's New Scooby-Doo? I mean, if I want to get touched in nostalgia, I will listen to those.
Gravity Falls is technically a mystery show.
Yes,
and that's got a pretty good intro as well.
Never seen it though, so
honestly, I think you'd like it a lot.
That's what people keep telling me.
I need to go through and finish it completely. That and Steven Universe are the two that I need. Like I kind of in my head have marked as ones that I really, really want to watch. And honestly, The Amazing World of Gumball is hilarious, and I think one of my, a little off topic here, but like one of my favorite things to do is watch Amazing World of Gumball out of context clips, and it's the best thing in the world. And like it's one of those like, because it's one of those shows you're like, even in context, I don't know if this would make sense, and I'm so happy about it.
So what's weirder, Amazing World of Gumball or Adventure Time?
Amazing World of Gumball. I have Adventure Time on here, in part, and that's more for me than anything else. I have not watched the whole show, but I remember very vividly when it was like 2 or 3 episodes on YouTube, and that was it. It was not a show picked up by Cartoon Network or anything else, and then it got picked up by Cartoon Network, and they got to do the whole like intro to the show. With the come on, grab your friends, like God, it's such a good intro, and it's like you get an introduction to everything that you're going to be seeing, and it's just such a great show. But no, Gumball's definitely weirder because like just the fact alone that they never stick with the same animation from character to character. It's all you can legitimately have a 2D animated character sitting next to a 3D animated character in the same scene interacting with each other, and it's so wild.
Huh. So dude, I'm assuming you've got more Cartoon Networks too.
Oh, obviously. Samurai Jack. Because, God, like, let's go back. Samurai Jack is so good.
That just...
What you got?
It's not on my list, primarily because I never watched it, but I remember going... I might watch the show just for the theme song, and Josh was probably going to connect on this one. I don't know if it's even on his list. This is going to be oddly specific for people of our generation and probably no one else, because this show did not last very long. But Code Lyoko.
Yes! Oh my gosh, yes! Oh, dude, like, I love that. I need to find out if it's somewhere so I can watch it.
Just dug like, that out of the recesses of my brain.
Well, like during that time though, like Code Lyoko,
Codename Kids Next Door,
Codename Kids Next Door,
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends,
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Chowder, The Adventures of Flapjack, like
Ben 10.
Ben 10, OG Ben 10 was like primo.
That was one that I watched with my dad. That and Avatar, he liked both of those. Ben 10's such a good concept too.
Ed and Eddie.
Hello, Eddie.
Like, first of all, I don't care who you are. Like, the Eds and I would be like best friends.
Yes.
Like how everybody else in that show are actual, like, not really fun people to be around. They're very generic and boring. I'm sorry. You wanna get in on Double D's new scheme to get more gumballs? Yeah, I'm here. Let's go.
The problem is the Ed and Eddie one is so good that it's ruined whistling for me for the rest of my life. So whenever I hear Ed, Ed, Ed. Whenever I hear the, I just think Ed, Ed, Eddie.
Oh, dude. And then two of my favorites would be definitely Courage the Cowardly Dog, which the show alone, fantastic, creepy. I think
So many people's intro to horror.
Yeah, definitely. And then I think I was telling you about this before we got on. The Powerpuff Girls one, like intro, was one that I didn't know that I knew by heart, and now is like sugar, spice, everything nice, everything for like. Oh, dude, it's so good, and it's such a great show too. So that helps. So.
There's a couple Cartoon Network ones though that you're missing.
Absolutely, that I can't do all of them.
Because there's one in particular that I'm going, oh, how has he not said this one yet? When there's trouble, you know who to call. Teen Titans. You get bonus points for me if you have variations of your theme song. And Teen Titans, you always knew when it was a big episode, and the creators specifically made this, of like any major event episode would be the Japanese version. And even as a kid, you're going, I don't know what they're saying. Actually, I do, because I know it in English. You're going, you don't mind that it's in Japanese. I think that's a lot of kids of our generation's intro to anime was that art style and that very much Japanese influence of Teen Titans. Even though if you look at Teen Titans comics, there's really not of correlation. Yeah. They're very, very different. But Teen Titans is such a good song, such a good. Oh, I'm getting hyped because it's exciting, but it's a little dark too. It's got great build up. Better than as much as I like Teen Titans Go to the movies, it's better than Teen Titans Go's theme. It's just
yeah. I've got it in my head now. Like, oh, it's so good. It's a show, and like it created a character that I've always wanted to see now with X. X is so cool. Like
Red
I
X.
love just dude, such a cool character.
Now he's canon in the comics too.
No way, really?
Mm-hmm. In Teen Titans Academy. Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
I have two more. I have two more for Cartoon Network because they could be. Okay. No, I've got two more for Cartoon Network. I've got plenty more. I've got two more for Cartoon Network.
Like, oh no.
That I can very easily lump together because they're both Batmans. Obviously, Batman the Animated Series is one of the greatest animated series of all times, and I think a big part of that is the intro. Like I remember every day, 4:30, dun 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 dun, and you see the you see the two guys robbing the bank. You see the explosion. Yep. Then you see the fire from the Batmobile light up. He drives off. Not a single word is spoken. Just great fluid action, amazing music. But where would I be? I'm sure Josh would be pissed at me if I didn't bring up the multiple intros, actually, because I think they changed it every season for the Batman. Dude, the first seasons was a little creepy. Dude. The Batman.
Well, because it was cool too, because they like kind of, I don't know how to say this. They like create that like the Batman vocals around how it would sound when he revs up the Batmobile at the same time. It was just so cool. I mean, that show alone is really awesome, and I don't know.
Except for its Bane.
Yeah, the Bane was a little weird, but I like it better than Dark Knight Rises.
You like anything better than Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah. During that time though, that there was that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show that was on that is still so good.
If you want me to melt in my seat, that's how. Because I genuinely almost put it on this list. Because in terms of theme songs that I've heard the most, it's probably that. Because I listened to it both on the show, but I had the Game Boy Advance game. And whenever you started the game up before you could play, it would play the intro and, little 144p resolution on your little Game Boy Advance with like 8 frames per second. And you're going, I don't care. It's close enough. And that to me is still definitive Turtles. I love that more than the 80s one. The 80s one is kind of dated, but that intro for the 2000 one is so good.
So good, because they did like several seasons on just like them in New York, current timeline, whatever, and then they have a whole couple seasons of them in the future, and it's even cooler.
You say that just because what's his face is there, the bunny rabbit guy.
I mean, yeah, but that's not. But like even then, like giving like laser weapons to the turtles at the same time.
Because toys.
It was. I understand. Okay, but it was just so cool. I need to go find out where to watch that show.
Paramount Plus.
God dang it! Somebody give me the login.
I don't even have it. I got it from my parents because they had CBS All Access. One of the only people I knew that had that.
Yeah. No, I would. Dang, I might. How much is that? That's like 15.
I think it's like 10.
That's pretty acceptable for a show that I know I'd watch all the way through.
Yeah, it's all on there. So is Little Bear, I think.
I don't care about Little Bear.
You shut your mouth. Little Bear is a national treasure. Paddington can suck it. Little Bear is the true treasure of America when it comes to fluffy bears.
So I've got 2 more Cartoon Networks. These are my last ones, and they're from the like Adult Swim end of Cartoon Network, and that's in of course Rick and Morty and South Park. South Park is like one of the most.
Counts as Cartoon Network.
I believe that they show it on Adult Swim. At least I grew up watching it on
See,
Adult
I'm
Swim.
used to South Park being associated with like Comedy Central.
I know they show it on multiple, but like I remember it. With all that being said, South Park is iconic as like, oh, come on, sit down to South Park, didn't it? And I just remember like the Kenny section, like, come on.
Now, actually,
so good.
You bring up South Park is a perfect segue for me because one of my favorite shows that's finally just now ending this year did an episode where they spoofed different styles of TV shows, and one of them was South Park. And as a kid, even then, I like understood it as South Park, but I didn't understand how good of a job they did at spoofing South Park for that episode until I'm an adult. I'm going, oh wow, Arthur really did its homework, because it's so weird to me that Buster's like, let's go to the South Park world. But any kid that grew up watching Arthur, or any kid in the 90s, just knows the Arthur theme because public access television. Every day when you're walking down the street, it starts off slow, and then
after the people you meet.
It starts slow, and by like 10 seconds in, you're just going hard. And I said, hey, what a wonderful time to play.
Hey. Oh, dude.
And then the show gets ruined by DW showing up. DW is the Caillou of Arthur.
Dude. Okay, but like also Cyber Chase.
Between the Lions?
Between the Lions, baby.
Oh, bro. Cliffhanger is my favorite TV character of all time. Cliffhanger.
I love that. So good. And like
Gwain's Word.
Fuzzy what was he? Fuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy didn't hit. Oh, just dude, so good. So much good television. Gosh, public access.
Oh, I have one other PBS one actually. That counts as multi-generational. It could be modern times. It could be when we were kids. It could be when our parents were kids, because it's that old. Let's go down
so it's not
to the street. Sesame Street.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Sesame Street is one of those just like instantly iconic ones of genuinely any generation I know has grown up with Sesame Street. My parents grew up with Sesame Street. I grew up with Sesame Street. My kids will probably, depends on what HBO Max feels like doing with Sesame Street, because it's locked behind that paywall now. Sesame Street's just that welcoming hug of like, come on, come just relax, learn some things, enjoy our fantastic puppetry, don't get too close to Elmo, have fun.
Yeah. Which is crazy because we're talking about like public access, and we talked about Arthur, talked about Cyber Chase and Sesame Street, and I think the one that we haven't talked, outside of Reading Rainbow,
Reading Rainbow, but don't take my word for it.
Oh, so good.
The Bob Ross theme
is the other one about a very specific guy. He does science, and
Bill.
Dude, I listened. I was going through like just listening to themes and stuff like that, and that came up, and I was like, Bill Nye the Science, like instantly just hyped. Like, yeah, science. Let's learn some science, baby. You're right. Like,
I need Oh,
Great
dude,
show.
I need a Funny or Die crossover with Bill Nye the Science Guy and Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. Yes, science!
All right, yeah, that's something I do now. All right, let's go. Oh, dude, great.
Yeah,
theme,
Mr. Nye! Let's make that.
And like Bill's like giving him advice on how to make it like make meth.
I'll make it as pure as possible.
Like yeah.
We're going for 99 today, Jesse.
Yeah.
I am the one who science is.
No. All right, so like I guess that kind of launches us pretty well into the live action space of intros. I feel like anyway. Do you have any other cartoon ones that you want to?
I have one more cartoon one that will make you very, very happy.
Happy.
Calling Buzz Lightyear, the galaxy's greatest hero. Did you forget about that one, or are you saving that for later?
I know. I genuinely like. I don't mean to, but I forget about Star Command because it's been so long.
I never forget about Star Command. Star Command lives in here, and I'm still pissed that it's not on Disney Plus. What are you doing with your life? I know John Lasseter wasn't a big fan of the show, but his opinion doesn't matter anymore. He's not with you guys because
but there's also a lot of crap.
Huh?
There's also still a lot of crap on Disney Plus that's not good. So it's like, I don't understand. Whatever. Dude.
I need Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and I need Famous Jet Jackson on Disney Plus, because Buzz Lightyear of Star Command's intro alone is worth the price of admission. Like, you get the way too enthusiastic narrator, which now thinking about it as an adult, I wouldn't be surprised if that Buzz Lightyear of Star Command is very much just like a Flash Gordon type of homage with how like overly dramatic it is, like those old school sci-fi specials. Mm-hmm. But you just get hyped every time. You get the great narrator, skilled, courageous, and ever vigilant, leaping into action. Buzz Lightyear hurtles to the rescue. And then once you get Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, like you're going, oh wow, they're going extra hard on this music. Yeah. I need to watch this episode. I'm gonna sit here and I binge a whole day of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command just for this music alone. It's just that good. And Disney Plus, get your life together, man. You have Timon and Pumbaa on your service. That had a few good jokes. I need Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
There's so much to like the Tarzan show was so good, and just, and you can't find that anywhere. Like
that's not on Disney Plus.
No, as far as anybody, it's not. It is not Tarzan and Jane. Like it was
no, Tarzan and Jane was the crappy sequel.
Yeah, no, it's a different. It's like its own show. To my knowledge, it does not exist anywhere on the internet. So I don't know how that works.
Also,
whatever.
Honorable mention to Out of the Box.
Yeah, good stuff. Or like, okay, like here's I know we're not talking about old shows. We're just doing intros, right?
I have two very old shows.
But I'm trying not to go down a nostalgia trip here. Like,
mine way overshoots nostalgia for two of these.
But like shows like Cubics and like Bill and Mandy, Bill and Mandy's Grim Adventure, like, dude, there's Shaolin Showdown. Like, there's just so much you can.
Mucha Lucha.
Mucha Lucha.
Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh my gosh! How did we forget?
Jackie
didn't. Chan Adventures is like literally one of the best animated shows of all time, and I will sing its praises.
Even as a kid, though, they're just like, Jackie Chan voices himself. I'm going, that's not Jackie's voice. Jackie got stuff to do. It ain't this. Yep. That's not Jackie's voice. I know Jackie's voice, and that ain't it. It doesn't help when you're just like, this is Jackie's voice. And then you get the actual Jackie Chan at the end of every episode when kids ask Jackie a question. And he's like, this is what it's like doing stunts. This is my worst injury. And you're like, I just heard you for half an hour. That's not you.
That's not you at all. But no, like that's also, oh, dude, yes. There's just, like, what happened? Oh, dude. The X-Men theme. How did we forget? that intro is fantastic.
Or
as
90s
well.
Spider-Man.
Like, dude, oh,
Or
gosh.
Spectacular Spider-Man. Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Nerd.
It's
Oh,
a good
man.
one. I was avoiding it for a
is.
while because of Ultimate Spider-Man, my love of that, but Spectacular Spider-Man's
Yeah.
good too. All right,
is.
I've got
There's
only live
other-
action left.
Yeah, same. Wait. Yeah, same. Well, except for The Simpsons. I have The Simpsons on this list because it is kind of...
It's
one of
iconic.
the most,
I'll say that.
it's like one of the most iconic intros that on for TV like ever. I mean, it has what, like almost 100 seasons or something like that.
Almost 100 seasons.
I'm looking at this up. Hold on.
I did see a stat about The Simpsons, I think it was a day or two ago, that Simpsons has now been running for 5 decades. 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, and I'm going, oh gosh.
Okay.
So maybe you should have,
I'm not-
maybe you should have ended it a while ago.
It's
43 seasons?
33.
Oh, wow.
And 34. It reached its 600th episode in 2016.
Wow. Maybe you should
Whoa.
die.
Hold on. Oh yeah, okay, no, yeah, we're cool. That's just crazy though. That's so many seasons when you sit down and think about it.
So,
All right.
let me get 2 of these out of the way that I feel like will be our oldest shows that we talk about today, unless Josh has
Okay.
something really, really old. So, I didn't grow up a scary movie person. That evolved to what it is now via college and watching Halloween. But there's still some mildly spooky stuff or essence of spooky that I watched as a kid. So I'm going to lump these two together because a lot of people are like, are you this or are you that? I'm both. I'm both a fan of the Munsters and the Addams Family. Both of them.
Yes.
I think the Addams Family is more classic. Everyone knows everyone knows the snaps by heart, and everyone knows more or less knows the words of the creepy and the kooky, mysterious and spooky. Altogether, the kooky, the Addams Family. The Munsters, on the other hand, there's no real words for that, but you still know the dun 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 dun. I can't wait for Rob Zombie to ruin that with heavy guitar and metal riffs off of that. Aggressive screaming and drums going, look at my wife, she's in this movie. But both I don't know what Rob Zombie's like.
I don't know either. I have faith in him enough that he won't ruin this completely. But yeah. I'm just like every Rob Zombie movie at some point goes, look, this is my wife and she's hot. Like at some point.
At some point you just pat him on the back going, okay.
We know, buddy. We
Sure.
know.
Congratulations, man.
All right, I'm going to bring up a show that I don't particularly like, but I accept the fact that the intro is iconic and actually pretty catchy. In The Big Bang Theory. I'm not that big of a fan of the show because of the way that it treats nerd culture. But gosh dang, is that theme song catchy and iconic, and like it's just so good.
Yeah, Bare Naked Ladies really crushed that one of just the fast verbiage of it. I'm going, this is impressive, even if Big Bang Theory does just go for the low-hanging fruit of, we'll make the nerd reference. We don't care if the nerd reference is correct, but we'll make it. Like, hey, did you know in Halloween they just used an inside-out William Shatner mask? I'm going, how was that allowed to be written on a TV show? Because what's the meme? Outstanding. Every word that you just said is wrong. That was the single dumbest, idiotic thing I have ever heard.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's stuff like that. This is why, like, Macaulay Culkin was never on the show. Like, they offered to him several times, and he's like, no, like, I've read the script. I'm good.
That and he had to sober up at the time.
I mean, there's that too, but still.
But now he's super, super cool. He was just on Freddie Prince's podcast. Macaulay's an interesting dude. Here's one that I don't think Josh likes. I like most of this show, even if the show is the prime example of biting off way more than you can chew. Game of Thrones. Even if no one has ever seen a single episode of Game of Thrones, you know the dun 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 dun. And for better or for worse, the next month or so, I'm going to be listening to a lot of Game of Thrones music because the composer of Game of Thrones is the one doing the music for Uncharted. So I'm going to be like, what do you bring to the table? I'm not complaining about that. I wish it was Henry Jackman, but the Game of Thrones does have good music. And also, Josh, before you go, it's the same guy that did the music for Pacific Rim, and that music,
yeah, I know
that music's a banger.
So here's my issue. I mean, I have
Season
my
8?
have all my opinions of the show, blah blah blah. I understand that because of its place in our culture, Game of Thrones, and the intro is very iconic, and and all of that. However, I do think it's a little too big for its own britches. Why do I need to sit here for a minute watching your intro? I will get me into the show, man. I'm here for the show. It's one of my issues with, like, I don't know, one of the other several other like ones that are left on this list. I just like I accept the fact that it's iconic, but like it's like it's the one thing that I will always agree with CinemaSins on is like, geez, Marvel, how long is your logo gonna be? Like, how much longer can you make your logo? Like, just guys, we're not here to watch your intro. We're here to have a good to be like, yeah, all right, we're into the show, let's go, and not spend 5 minutes watching you animate a bunch of stuff.
Look at our moving map.
It's cool. Don't get me wrong.
The first,
but
like 2 or 3 seasons, and then you're just like, yeah, then I'm kind of with you.
First season, I'm over it. Honestly, I understand they change it, they add stuff to it. That's cool, but it's still the same thing over and over and over again. It's whatever. I understand. I just don't like it.
I got 2 more, so I'm sure you're gonna need to bang out a whole bunch here.
Okay, 2 of the shows that are kind of going the same line of how I feel about the Game of Thrones intro. Walking Dead. That show should have ended at season 3. Guarantee it. I'm sorry. It should not have kept going. I understand there's more comics, and I would be biased to say that I'm probably at some point going to collect those comics. But like, stop. It's iconic. It's cool. But I don't want to sit here and listen to that for a minute and a half straight. Just like, because usually they do a little cutoff, they do a little cliffhanger right before, and they're like, all right, intro. I was like, I understand that's how you do television, but I don't know why I just turned into like this grumpy old man, but I don't like Walking Dead in general. One of the ones that I don't like all of the seasons, but I appreciate that they always try to liven it up and do something fresh, is with American Horror Story. Obviously, it's different every season, and so you get a different intro every season, but I think after a bit you kind of do get this like, oh, okay, so this is what this season's going to be about. I wonder how they're going to do the intro, and it's not too long, it's entertaining. The seasons are kind of give or take sometimes. It's definitely obvious. I think the fans in general have a consensus of which seasons are better, and that's fine. But it was always fun to try to be like, okay, cool, what are they going to do with the intro this time around? Like, to me, that's a lot of fun. All right, let's see. I'm down to 4. I don't know if you ever watched it, but it wouldn't be surprising if you knew that I watched it. But the Vikings intro is very, very good. Short, sweet, to the point, gets you amped. Bing, bang, boom. Yeah, wow. I see you rolling your eyes.
Didn't see that one on this list at all.
Let's do, and then before we get into yours, because I didn't realize how much of like a space it occupied in my brain until I heard it when I was doing some kind of research and stuff like that for the topic. The BBC Sherlock theme. I first of all, I might go back and rewatch that show because it's so. I always forget how good it is.
I still have a
But
bone to pick with Sherlock. They released the first season in 4K, and it looks outstanding on like 4K
yes,
physical. They had never released any of the other seasons, and it still bothers me because everyone knows season 2 is the best season. So
yes.
also with Sherlock, Heather and I took one of our friends to see Spider-Man No Way Home again, so my 4th time seeing it, her 3rd time, and she leans over to me in the theater when he gets to Doctor Strange's office, Sanctum Sanctorum, and they start playing some of the music for Doctor Strange, and she leans over and goes, "So why does Doctor Strange's music sound like the Sherlock music?" And I'm going, because now I'm never going to be able to hear anything else, because the guitar part of it, I'm just going, it does sound like Sherlock. Dang it. But no, the Sherlock's one is so good. Everything about that show, except for season 4, is magnificent.
But even then, like, season 4 is still good. It's just not as good as the other season. Is the thing. It's such a good show. Great intro. Hit me with one of your last two, and you can go into this.
Well, I'll save the one that I'm sure Josh knows what I'm saving for last will be.
No way.
But the other one that I'm going, well, basically any kid from the 80s or 90s, if you want to get a whole room of them singing together in unison, in West Philadelphia, born and raised. Like, that's also one of the best TV shows I can think of in terms of you immediately know what the story is and what the backstory is going into every single episode. They do a very good job of condensing down the basically what you need to know to get you up to speed on every single episode. Now, the real question is, you can judge people of, do you know the TV version or do you know the full version? Do you know the version where he's on the plane, where he's hitting on the flight attendants, like the version that doesn't make it onto every episode, except for like maybe the pilot, I think. But Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that was a lot of people's intro to Will Smith, and that I think that goes a long way into us and being endeared to him. Fresh Prince is just such a good jam, and you get a whole bunch of white people that think they can rap because they know the Fresh Prince version, basically. So I don't know if it's a good thing in the long run, but but Fresh Prince is a classic.
Also, there's a lot of episodes that still kind of resonate today. And it's really, really cool, which is crazy for a show that was made way back then, how prevalent it still is. But yeah, one of the most iconic intros of all time. I will see your Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and while I am still to this day iffy about the show, the Office theme is iconic. Like, you can't... Even
if you've never seen it, you know it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not particularly a show that, like, I love. I know people that binge it all the time, and I get that. Good for you. Because I know somebody else who has a show he's about to talk about that binges it all the time.
Not as much as you think.
Okay. What? Like once every couple months?
I haven't watched it in at least 3 days when I was building Legos, I'll have you know. Because I found the Robert Pattinson Batmobile as a Lego, and I bought it, and I built it. Ooh. I built it, and it's got shooting missiles. I'm a 28-year-old man.
I was like, you're not as old as I am, buddy. There's no way.
I math.
I math so good. Oh my gosh, so good. Since I know what your ending one is, do you want me to go ahead and finish out my list then, buddy?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. That 70s show has one of the best intros in my mind because, hey, the show has always felt like you're on an adventure with your friends, that these characters do, even into the middle of season 1, become your friends. And so the intro becomes like this moment of like, oh, I just sing along with my friends then. Like, now just hang it out. Like, so good. I think that 70s show is next to Scrubs. It's those shows that if it's on, I will absolutely watch it.
I thought about putting Scrubs.
I quote it so much.
I thought about putting Scrubs, but Scrubs has great music. The theme song is not one of them.
No,
I think Superman is just I don't even think it really fits the show perfectly well.
No.
I think there's better songs that the Scrubs playlist, for lack of a better term, is really, really well done. I like the music a lot of times on the show. I just don't think Superman's it. An obligatory, hey, did you know the X-ray is actually backwards? Yes, we all know that.
I'm no Superman. But see, like, that still works, I think. Woo! So good. But yeah, that 70s show is super good. I'm kind of interested because they have kind of announced that there are going to be some that 70s show people coming back for that 90s show. We'll
Which
see
hopefully
what
will be
happens
better
with
than that 80s show.
that was not a thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Just like Scrubs Season 8.
Yeah. Okay. And I stand by this. Scrubs Season 8 would be good if it was on its own show.
If it was a spinoff, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the show that we totally didn't sing earlier in the episode.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I know that you know.
Because I'm not telling the truth.
Because I don't care that it's my favorite show of all time and I'm biased. The Psych theme song is one of the best theme songs ever, primarily because of how they implement it. One, it's the intro for the show, but two, depending on the episode, is depending on the version of the theme song that you get. So say there's a mystery involving an a cappella group, Quarter Black, if you will. They will have Boys to Men sing an actual a cappella version. Or say if you get Kurt Smith from Tears for Fears in your episode, you actually get Kurt Smith from Tears for Fears to sing the intro for your song. Or you have horror-themed episodes, you have a horror spin on your theme song. If you've got a Christmas episode, you've got a Christmas version of it. You get a superhero episode, you have more of a dramatic and epic version. You get a Bollywood episode, you have a Bollywood-style version of your theme. The fact that they change it up and don't stick to the same one is always entertaining to me. And it's just a song that makes you happy. It's a good, feel-good song. If you're a Psych fan, and even if you're not, and you've only seen a couple, it's hard not to at least like be bobbing your head during the song going, okay, I'm caving in to the 80s pop culture references and cheesy, dumb fun. It's just such a good, catchy song that's, now that we've spoken it into existence, it's going to be stuck in my head the rest of the week, but I'm not complaining about that.
Yep, can't blame me, man. I think, and what's interesting is, I don't think you introduced me to it.
No, you said you had seen some in college.
Yeah,
maybe Neslo introduced it to you.
Maybe. I don't know how I came across it, but yeah, it's crazy that, like, that is a show that you and I definitely, like, bonded over. Like, I think at the end of the day, I think it's very odd to think how much TV shows have impacted our lives. I feel like TV shows have impacted us more so than like maybe movies. I see, that's tough. Like,
you spend a different amount of time with them.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. But I think the thing with Psych was always that you did get to go on an adventure with Sean and Gus every episode, and then they did make a visible effort to kind of progress character-wise throughout the show. So it did, like, God, it's such a great show, and like the intro is it's not, you can't skip it. It's
no, I've never once skipped it. It's just too
so
good. It's a happy song.
Good.
It's so good. And I think I've always said Psych resonates with so many people, and why there's so many Psych fans is everyone knows at least some people in their own lives that they can see on the show, because everyone wants the relationship of like a Sean and Gus. Sean and Gus is what JD and Turk should have been if JD wasn't so self-absorbed. Like, Sean is self-absorbed, but he knows when to reel it in and be mature. JD becomes so intolerable by the end of Scrubs, whereas Turk actually makes an effort to grow and mature as a person, and he's the only one that you actually, besides sometimes Dr. Cox, you can actually buy as a believable parent and has grown as a person. Sean and Gus, you could definitely see some people in your own life like that. It's just... Also, that was a show that I always watched with my family. I always enjoyed it because it was, for the most part, always a pretty clean show. We never had to worry about what was going to be on it, and we always knew we could laugh hard
Yeah.
at it. And it's funny as I get older, episodes that I didn't like as a kid, I love now. Like there's one that they spoof Friday the 13th. I did not like that one as a kid because I didn't like horror. I watch it now. It's one of the best episodes they ever did because the little touches that they do are so perfect. They'll get the regular TV cameras, but then as soon as Sean and Gus arrive to this like haunted camp, it immediately gets like 50% more desaturated, and they add a level of film grain, and I'm going, oh, I didn't even notice that touch the first time.
Well, and like there's an episode I vividly remember where like it like has a spy aspect to it, and I was like, oh, this is fun.
I
okay,
literally
cool.
just watched that one while I was making my Lego.
Where
I'm a grown man.
Marie from Jason Bourne.
Yep,
pops
that's
up
the one
out
I
of
just
nowhere.
watched.
I was like, oh, dude, this is so cool. This is so fun. And I liked how for a long time it was you didn't know who. Well, they did kind of like quote unquote themed episodes for a while.
Yep.
But like it was so much fun because the themes were so broad you wouldn't know who was going to show up. It was just
anyone was fair game. Tim Curry
absolutely
showed up. Tim Curry's still the best guest star they ever had. Freddie Prinze Jr. as Freddie Prinze Jr. basically.
Yeah.
Kerry Washington before she really blew up to the big name that she is now. But the show really just starts the pace off the bat with a fantastic theme song that honestly will probably never be topped. It's just so... It fits the show so perfectly of irreverent, dumb, doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just good fun. Any last minute ones that you think we missed, Josh?
I mean, dude, you and I could sit here and talk about like WB Kids, like those Saturdays of just fantastic cartoons.
Animaniacs.
Looney Tunes, like all these different kinds of intros. But no, like we'd be here for hours talking about those shows. I think there was one like Criminal Minds comes to mind. But like I could never tell if I liked the show more or than the intro. The intro was fine. I think one of the ones that's always iconic is CSI Miami, but that's got a bunch of jokes that go with it.
There's one that I forgot we haven't talked about yet. That it's not a very long intro, but as soon as that first note hits, I know specifically you and I will always have a big smile on our face. The intro theme for Young Justice.
Yes, absolutely.
As soon as that first guitar riff hits, and you're going, oh, I'm in for a good time, except if it's season 4, in which case it's very hit or miss. They're doing story arcs, and I don't fully enjoy the story arc parts, because it's like you're spending 4 full episodes with a group of characters and not seeing anybody else, whereas I like Young Justice for the interrelationship stuff. I like the characters playing off of each other.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I honestly haven't watched an episode since Fandom, so we will see. I need, dude. There's so much stuff I need to watch. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll dive in. But yeah, this, I think ultimately, the goal, and I think something that a lot of the OG shows that you and I grew up with, the important part about a intro is always that, like we hear the certain notes of the intro and we're like, oh, dude, that instantly brings back just as many memories as someone would be like, hey, man, did you ever watch Batman the Animated Series? But like the intro hits just as hard as memories about the show itself. So I think this talk, if anything, has shown me that TV has affected my life more than I think I realized. And the movies maybe aren't, I mean, they're still a big part of it, but especially like if you ever count anime, there's certain animes that I watch that always hit a note for me, and I can always just have like a flood of nostalgia and stuff like that for just from the intro alone.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of my personality that I think more comes from more the TV shows that I watch than the movies. I'm I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No, yeah.
What do you guys think? What are some of your all-time favorite TV theme songs or intros of all time? Let us know in the comments below. Always like hearing from you guys. And as always, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube at Uncharted Media. Help us get to 700 subscribers by the end of the year. That's our goal for this year. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.